Welcome to Pajama Party Piano. Tonight, I kind of want to just talk a little bit about some songs and kind of what they mean to me. It's kind of more of an intimate discussion and maybe show you some of my favorite songs and kind of what they mean to me. So, I'll just jump right into it. One of the stories that I wanted to tell you about is a song by Yanni called "Until the Last Moment." It starts out with sort of a classical feel to it. Beautiful, beautiful song. Now, what I love about this song is that it climaxes with this beautiful and then falls off into just a beautiful, beautiful, soft section that it's always been one of the parts of a song that I've honestly thought is possibly one of the most beautiful sections of a song I've ever heard. I just love the contrast from the, verses or whatever section you want to call that into the, chorus or that change. I'm not sure what they call it, but anyway, excuse me. So I'm going to play that part for you right here, and then I'll get into it first, I guess. When I was younger, I used to have this fantasy, sort of a daydream, that, Yanni would be at a concert and performing in front of the Acropolis or whatever, and I would be in the audience, and that sounds silly, but, and of course I wish no harm on anybody, but I always imagined that he had injured his hand or something right before the show, and he couldn't play, and they were like, oh no, what are we going to do? There's, thousands of people who paid a lot of money to see this concert. He can't see this concert. So I always imagined that somehow they would find out that I was able to play his music, and I would get up on the stage a little nervous or whatever, and I'd play his music, and everyone would be like, wow, he's just like Gunny. I know it's ridiculous, but that was sort of a fantasy of mine, a way that I used to imagine myself on stage in front of all those people playing a beautiful song and everyone loving it. And anyhow, silly fantasy, but that's kind of how it was when I was a child, and this is one of those songs I would imagine this part being the thing that I played, and I just would be deeply emotional and get into it. And I'm going to play that section with a little bit of the preceding section here. So, and it goes on from there. But oh my goodness, I love that. It's just a D major 7th with a D, or I should say an E with a D bass, but that just sounds so beautiful, especially coming off of the G flat or F sharp. Oh, so gorgeous. Anyway, so I thought I'd share that with you. That's kind of a silly thing. The other one of his songs that I had a very similar fantasy about was End of August, which I have a cover of on my channel, but I just have always loved that and thought it would be so fun to be up on stage and have his violinist accompany me playing that song, the one that goes... and it just, the violin comes in and it's just beautiful. So Anyway, I thought I'd share those little fantasies with you. Kind of silly, but it is what it is. The second thing, probably the piano album that resonates the most deeply with me of any piano album that I've ever heard, is a piano album that was originally titled Piano Rain by an artist named Greg Schultz. Fantastic man, awesome guy, very humble. He's just out of the limelight, but he has this piano album, and it was originally at a store. I think it was at Walmart or one of those stores, Target, and it had piano with piano with nature recordings of rain. Very nice rain recordings, nothing annoying, just kind of gentle rain in the background. And I heard one of the songs. Anyway, it's been so long since I played that one, but that song in the demo unit, I was just like, oh, this is just so gentle and so beautiful. And then there was another song, I forget which one it was, and they played that. And when I heard those two songs, I said, I have to have the CD. So I bought the CD. So I take that back. I bought the cassette. And I played the cassette into the ground. I mean, this cassette got warped and ruined because I played it probably thousands of times. And it was one of the most, this is kind of a personal story here, but it was kind of one of the most intimate, deep emotional experiences I've had with a music album. This piano just sounded like the music I would dream that could exist, but I had never heard before. And Greg Schultz made this music, and it was just touching and gentle and beautiful and flowing and everything. So I would have so many emotions listening to this album. One of the emotions, and this, I guess you could say, is good and bad. This is far long ago, before I was in, before I was even in college, probably high school or earlier. Yeah, earlier, I think. Anyway, I would listen to his music, and I would dream of the person that I would hopefully one day meet and marry and fall in love with or whatever. And I had this experience once where I was somewhere, I won't get into the details, but I was somewhere on a vacation at some place, and I met this woman, and, kind of like, quote unquote, had a crush on her, fell in love with her, whatever you want to call it. And I remember listening to these songs on this album, one specifically I'll play in a minute here, and there were times it just brought me to tears because it encompassed the loving aspect, the yearning, the hopefulness, but also just a sort of melancholy and sadness. And I must have played that thing so much, anyone around me probably got sick of it. But a lot of times I just had it in my cassette player or my headphones. And then later I ended up buying the CD when it was available near where I lived there. And thank goodness, because that tape was just destroyed. And then I had the CD, and I've got the CD now. I still listen to it on a fairly regular basis. And it's beautiful. So his top two songs, in my opinion. The first one is now on a CD called Quiet Escape. Copyright reasons, he re-released it, and it's basically called Not My Will. It goes like this. I have a cover of this on my channel as well, and the part that I think is so beautiful in that song is the sort of climax where it has some chords that go. Love those chords, they're just beautiful chords. And the next song, which is my favorite piano song that has ever existed, it's called Aries of Spring, or now it's called Spring Rain in the new version. And it just starts off with a very pretty. And I have a cover of that as well on my channel. Kind of old though, I probably should redo it. And it just slowly builds, and then he drops into octave lower and lower, and kind of gets more full, more flowing. Then at the climax of that song, he changes the key from C major to D major, and he does it in just a beautiful and uplifting way where he goes like this. Not only does he start with the high piano range, drops it down, lifts it up. That's just my favorite part of a song. It's up there with that Yanni piece, probably even better. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous key change. Beautiful, beautiful song. So, just a few songs I wanted to show you. Those have a very deep and personal meaning for me. They had an impact on my life. I listened to that music very much. It gave me a lot of different thoughts and emotions, and I just got lost in that music, and it inspired me to want to play the piano because I wanted to be able to not only hear those beautiful things, but experience the fun and the emotional joy of playing those things as well. And it really is, there's something great about listening, but there's also something great about being able to play that and just do the... I mean, you probably see me moving with it, and that's not anything, that's just natural. You get into that emotion, and it just kind of draws you in, and that's kind of the joy and the excitement that I have when I approach a piano. From a small age, I've always wanted to just mimic what I hear, and as I got older and I started to find more and more beautiful music, it really inspired me to want to play and compose my own beautiful music, to just draw out as much emotion as I can from the piano. So I just thought I'd share that with you, just a little more intimate session. And if you guys have any covers or any songs that you'd like me to play, I'd love you to leave them in the comments, and I'd love to look into some of them and just give them a shot. And please subscribe and share the channel, and I hope you guys have a great night.